Hello, welcome. On behalf of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, it is my pleasure to welcome each of you to the official launch of the W.I.R.E digital community. We are honored to have you join us for this important moment as we continue to expand, connect, engage, and support women across our network. But let's take a pause because before I go further, it is important to acknowledge this. W.I.R.E did not start today. There were women before us. There were national past women presidents. There were Realtors members. There were partners, champions, volunteers who saw the need, who created space, and who began building what we now have the opportunity to expand on. And we honor that work. We respect the foundation, and we feel blessed for the privilege to build up on it. I want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank our president for his leadership and for the opportunity to continue advancing this work through W.I.R.E. His vision and commitment to expand access, strengthening our organization, and positioning our members for long-term success are evident in this moment. It is my pleasure to invite our president, Ashley Thomas III, to bring remarks. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam ED, and it's great to see our chair, Tori Nunley, on the line, and our Vice President, Lewis. I want to say hello to you both. So I'm excited about W.I.R.E. W.I.R.E is fire, and I know we utilize that, but it's very important. And I think for 5 great years, W.I.R.E has been on a great trajectory, leading our association into new areas. And so I'm very excited about it. We obviously have to thank past President Lydia Pope, who 5 years ago wanted to implement W.I.R.E into the fabric of NARAB, and it has been. And I want to thank past President Dr. Courtney Johnson Rose for elevating it to another level. And I'm honored to walk in as the president to be able to continue that elevation. And I want to say to all the members that the commitment is here to continue W.I.R.E moving in the right direction. Now, there are very few times in life when we can do something and it has such a great impact that it inspires. And W.I.R.E has inspired Meyer. And so we're very excited about Meyer being inspired and the men having an opportunity to have a session. But today, in this moment, we want to say it's all about W.I.R.E. And so I want to thank the women of NARAB for all of your hard work and continued success. And I look forward to championing it as we move forward. So again, thank you. Let's keep W.I.R.E on fire and keep the inspire of Meyer.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I knew you were going to get Meyer a part of this conversation because
Absolutely.
Meyer plus wire equals fire, and we got to figure out what Meyer has as well.
That's right.
Next, I want to bring up our third Vice President, Amber Lewis. She's going to bring to forward the wire data overview.
Thank you,
Madam.
Madam President. Thank you, Madam ED and Mr. President. We appreciate your time here with us today. We are so excited, especially to launch this during our Women's History Month. But we always have to take a step back because the data tells the story, and we have to leverage the data to make sure that we continue to move the needle and to make sure that W.I.R.E is fire. So let me share this with you. I hope that you have a pen and paper out. We're going to go through this and make sure that you have the notes that you need as you're thinking about it, where you're going to settle, all of those things. So, why should women invest in real estate? We are going to leverage our Sheba data. So, I always tell our team, make sure you have Sheba, Sheba, Sheba. We're going to talk about the Sheba data, but the overlay of the women's sector. So when you think about 3 data points that I really want you to remember and you should not ignore, 3 right here, right? 39% of Black mortgage applicants in 2024 were women applying independently. 17% was the denial rate for Black women in 2024 versus 8% for white women. And then 63% origination rate for Black women versus the 74% of white women. What we know holistically when we look at this data is that Black women are present in the market, but it does remain unequal. Black women are not absent from housing. This should be a motivating factor. There's more room for us to grow. It's about access, approval, and positioning when you look at the data. Economic pressures make ownership more important. 66.5% is what we make, what we earn, compared to the $1 earned by every white man. So when you look at the data, and we've had this conversation before, when you think about closing the wealth gap, you going out, right, and establishing a career, let's say in corporate America or whatever it may be, is not going to lessen that gap. It is home ownership. That is the vehicle to ensure that we close and lessen that gap. 69.1 for every $1 earned for white men. This is full-time, year-round Black women workers. But why does this matter? If income growth is constrained, building wealth only building wealth only through wages becomes harder. So we just talked about that, right? It's not going to shrink that gap. Real estate creates, I like to say, a level playing field, right? It's another lane, equity growth, appreciation, and potential income. When we look at the data again, owning assets change everything and it builds trajectory when it comes to households. 1.544 million in white households is the average wealth in Q4 for 2024. And then Black households was at 352. So that's almost 4 times, right? When we look at Black households, median homeowner renter wealth gap in 2022 was 390,000. So home ownership does not solve every inequality, but the distance between homeowners and renters is too large. So we have to make sure that we are solving for this. And as women, we have to start diversifying our income and making sure that we invest in real estate. So if women are not investing, someone is. Someone's buying out the land. Someone's buying out the homes, right? What we know and what we say all the time is you have to purchase land. They're not making any more of it. But let's look at the data. 31% of all single-family home purchases in Q1 2025 came from institutional investors. 19% was in 2019, so it is increasing. Less than 300,000 is that soft spot, that sweet spot that's usually the target, and it's crowding out working class buyers. So what does this mean for W.I.R.E, Madam Third Vice President? Women need to move from being only consumers in the housing market to also becoming owners, investors, and neighborhood stakeholders. This is a personal wealth strategy and community wealth strategy at the same time. The data creates both urgency and opportunity. So we like to say, buy when there's fire in the streets, right? Buy. You ask me, when is the right time to buy? Yesterday. Today. When's the right time to invest and create a portfolio as women? Today and yesterday. What the data is saying. Black women are still participating in housing despite tighter access to credit, and we should know that, right? Because we're always going to find a way. The wealth gap remains fundamentally an ownership and asset gap. Real estate remains one of the clearest ways to build equity, cash flow, and legacy. So what's the bottom line? This is not data that shows that women should sit out the market. We talked about it today. Buy today. In this data, it says that women need strategy, support, and ownership in order to create wealth. How do we think about it? Let's look at these categories. We always know equity growth, appreciation, cash flow, leverage, and legacy. Ownership compounds. It compounds the ability for us to create generational wealth. So thank you, Madam ED. I will turn it back to you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And of course, we know we are data driven. It helps us to devise what we're going to do, what we need to solve for, and a pathway to where we're going. So thank you for that information. I want to give a high level overview of kind of our mission, our vision, and why W.I.R.E. The mission of W.I.R.E is to connect, equip, and elevate women through access to real estate knowledge, resources, and opportunities. It is about creating access to information that allows women to make informed decisions, not assumptions. It's about ensuring women are exposed to real pathways to ownership and wealth building. Our vision for W.I.R.E is to create a nationally connected women's collective that is informed, aligned, and positioned. And we're using the digital platform to do that. A space where women have access to insight, access to opportunity, access to each other. A platform that is consistent, intentional, and impactful, both in person and digitally. Why WIRE? Because access has not always been equal, because information has not always been shared, because opportunity has not always been visible. WIRE exists to close those gaps through connection, clarity, and exposure. This is about ensuring women are not navigating real estate alone and not missing opportunities simply because they were never introduced to them. Why the digital platform matters. The digital platform allows WIRE to be accessible beyond geography, consistent in experience, scalable across the country. Then it creates a space where women can remain connected to information, opportunities, and each other beyond the room. The full WIRE experience also extends to our self-care lounge. We recognize that building wealth and navigating real estate requires more than strategy. It requires clarity, discipline, and sustainability. The Self-Care Lounge is an intentional space for women to pause, reset, and reconnect while still engaging in meaningful conversation. Because long-term success requires not just knowledge, but balance, focus, and well-being. And then we close out with a networking reception, which is not just about information, it's about connection. The networking reception is where relationships are built, conversations are extended, and opportunities are often beginning. This is where women connect across experience levels, share insight, and begin forming the partnerships that are critical in real estate. What women can expect: real conversation, practical insight, access to resources, exposure to opportunities, not theory, but information that can be applied. This is about building something that is structured, sustainable, and impactful, and not just for today, but for long-term outcomes. WIRE is about connection, clarity, and it's about positioning women to move with confidence. And I'll leave you with this. When women are connected to the right information, relationships, and opportunities, they move with clarity and intention to build wealth, strengthen their position, expand their reach, and define what's possible for them. Mr. President, we know that you have a multitude of things to do. You're on travel. We appreciate the work that you're doing. So we are going to let you go to your very important interview. We appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you so much. I want to thank the team, thank our chair, Tori. You're doing a wonderful job. I appreciate all your hard work, Vice President Lewis, as always, and our one of the hardest working women I know, Madam ED. Thank you so much. Everyone have a blessed day.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. And now we're going to hear from our WIRE committee chair, who's going to talk to you about our national local strategy and the toolkit that we are working on. So she's going to give you an overview about that. Madam Tori.
Yes, thank you, Madam E.T. Wilson and 3rd VP Amber Lewis, and thank Mr. President for allowing me this opportunity, one, to be the chair for our WIRE committee and to pull together this toolkit that will really be able to help all of our local boards. So let's talk about it, you all. I'm excited. Okay. I am excited. Yes, yes, yes. This was all about the launch of our WIRE National Toolkit. So let's talk about, you just heard Madam ED speak on the vision and the mission and the purpose of WIRE. So now what we want to do is talk about, why does this national toolkit matter? It matters because it's going to be able to now provide a clear framework for the execution for every market to deliver that's going to be consistent and elevated with experience. So now we're removing all the guesswork, no more guesswork, and we are going to be replacing that with structure and alignment. So we are happy to now push this out so everyone can understand what is this toolkit, what would it do, and what would it provide. Again, this will provide the simple framework for now all the local boards to activate an event model that now can be replicatable, it can be duplicatable in every market across the country. And also, you'll be able to have the support with marketing, partnership, and also the execution of those events. So, what does this mean for your local board? I know you're asking. This is for now, not for you to build out anything new. No, we're not doing that. We are now just activating a national model, a plug and play system that's now will have the flexibility for you to localize these WIRE events in your market that will create consistency, clarity, and confidence. So we are excited for everyone now to say, okay, what is coming next in WIRE? Let's get to it. We have our official rollout for our WIRE National Toolkit. We have now the launch of our WIRE event model. So now you'll be able to understand how to put on an event. What does that event look like? What am I going to do in the event? We have it all laid out, structured, so you can execute those. And guess what? You're going to hear about our growth of our WIRE digital community. I think, you know what? That alone is going to create such an environment for us to get together as women, to come into a space to say, hey, I heard what Madam VP said. Now we got to understand, how do we now put ourselves into position to create the pathways for ownership and for wealth. So no, this is more than just another program. This is about positioning women for ownership and long-term wealth. So we are excited to push this out. It's not another event. We are establishing the framework of our national toolkit that will now show women how to invest in real estate and create long-term wealth. So thank you, Madam ED. I'm excited about it. Let's push this out, get people going, and see you guys at National with this. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've gotten overexcited again. Thank you, Madam Tori, for that high-level overview. Now back to Madam VP, who's going to share with you the digital community strategy and what this is all about. Madam VP.
Absolutely. So thank you. And thank you, Madam Chair. I'm so excited. I think, I like to call it freedom within a framework, right? We want to make sure that our local boards understand exactly what excellence looks like when it comes to WIRE. And I know that Madam Chair is the one to make sure it's brought to you as well. But let's pivot over to our digital community because we are also very excited about it. A little bit of information to share with you. Give me one moment. Let's pull that up. Okay, so let's lead into the digital community. So, why does WIRE matter? So, we've heard about the mission, the goals, all of the vision. We've heard about the data. We've heard about the launch of the local board toolkit that's coming out here to make sure that you guys can thrive in your local markets. But WIRE can be that bridge between aspiration, inspire to be this, and execution, right? So it's not about just ambition sometimes. We can all be ambitious, but if we don't have the tools to be successful, if we don't have the partnerships, if we don't have the community, none of those things are going to matter, right? And so WIRE is going to enable you to have that community to ensure that you are thriving and you're creating that generational wealth, that you're decreasing that wealth gap. So we have education, making sure that we have clear learning pathways to build confidence, trust, and long-term engagement. That community model that Madam Executive Director was talking about, peer support, shared learning, and a trusted experience. If I learn and I fail, I want to share that story with you. I want to ensure that you're not going down the same path that I am and your learning curve is lessened. And that's what community brings to it. And then accountability. Look, we all think about the goals that we have. We all want to be great, but sometimes we fall short. And that's okay. But if I can look at Madam Tori or Madam ED and they can say, hey, Amber, you really got to give it your all, and they hold me accountable, I'm going to go that much further. And that's what this community is about. Goals, execution, and consistent progress. Being able to check in with each other, not just because you're not my neighbor, but because you're also across the country and you're doing some great things, okay? We're not going to just participate in the market. You're going to position yourself to own, invest, build, and lead by leveraging this digital community, okay? Women are already in the market. We know that. We know that the barriers are real to this opportunity. We also know that real estate remains one of our strongest paths to wealth, and WIRE gives women a place, a home, friends, and family to make sure that you have the strategy and support that you need. So, what does it look like? Okay. As we're building our digital community, we're going to move further and faster. We're going to create our own opportunities. We're going to be in the room. We're going to create these spaces. We're going to partner with each other and we're going to hold each other to a higher standard. So, where do you find us digitally? How do you connect with us? I want you right now, when you're looking at this, pull up your phone because we all know you have your phones. Take out your computer and join us today. We have our Facebook. I want to start there. I know that's number two, but we have a Facebook group. This is our pure digital community. You're going to join. You're going to have posts. You're going to have polls. You're going to have opportunities to intersect with our partners. You're going to hear about the programs that they have available. You're going to be able to talk amongst each other. You're going to be able to put questions in there, and you're going to engage with individuals like Madam Executive Director, Madam Chair, myself, and our phenomenal WIRE committee that's going to bring a wealth of expertise to the table. It's so important because we can't be connected when we're not at national and usual aspects, but now you can be connected even outside of the WIRE conference that Madam Executive Director is going to share with you so we can continue to hold each other accountable. We have the Women in Real Estate NARAB LinkedIn page as well, brand new. Go ahead, friend us on that. We have our own Instagram. So I know we have our NARAB Instagram, but we have our own. We're going to share stories, insights, posts. We want to hear your stories. We're going to be celebrating you as well. And guess what? You may be the first to know about a lot of things that are happening before everybody else. So you want to make sure you're part of it as well. And then finally, we have our own website as well. So it's an opportunity for you to be able to go there and sign up for things like NARAB conferences, the WIRE conference that's going to be there. We're going to share things that are happening across the country, and we're going to continue to build it. But what we're most excited about, and I know Madam ED is feverishly thinking about it, is the insights that we're going to garner from you because you're going to speak and we're going to listen. We want to hear what you need, and we're going to deliver that, and you're going to hold us accountable to that as well. We also want to understand, what does success look like? How do we share that with our partners? How do we tell the story? And we've talked about this on the Realtist News Network. We have an opportunity to create our own NARAB narrative, and WIRE is a huge component of that. So please, please, please join today. I cannot wait to see you digitally. Madam ED, back to you.
Thank you. And we're also building our own data impact analytics as well that we're very excited about, um, that we'll be able to share with you and you'll be able to utilize in your local markets as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Madam VP. So all of this wonderful stuff is coming your way. All of this wonderful stuff. We have been working really, really hard and meeting and trying to figure out what is the best way, the best infrastructure to continue to build on what we've been given in order to connect and support you and help you. And I hope that you're feeling that in what you've heard so far and that you're getting as excited as you can see that we are. We're trying to contain ourselves over here so we can be professional, but we are extremely excited. So we're all going to all roads are leading to Las Vegas to the Virgin Hotel. And on Monday, July 27th, is going to be our WIRE conference. We are going to open up with a self-care lounge, as I spoke about before. Then we will have keynote speakers. We will have breakout sessions. We will have some meditation. Some of you experienced a little bit of that in Tulsa, but that's going to be a little bit of a surprise. But working on something for you, we can kind of finish that whole process that we started. We kind of left you a little bit in the middle, but we're going to take you all the way through to the end. And then we're going to close out with a networking reception, which we had not done in the past. But we want you to be able, with our speakers and our presenters and folks who have information, to be able to connect and share, and you to be able to connect with those people and get additional information and talk about you, personally, and share with others in the room. So we are looking to make this as engaging and impactful as we can. And we cannot be successful if you are not in the room. So connect with us digitally. We've given you all sorts of ways. Whatever your preference is, we're like, I think it's Burger King. Have it your way. If you're Instagram, if you're Facebook, if you're a website, we're trying to make sure that we can reach you wherever you get your news, and we're going to continue to grow. But in order to grow to where we need to be and connect across the country, we need for you to be a part. So that is your call to action. Get connected. And we have another surprise on Monday. You'll be hearing from us again about 12 o'clock on Monday. So stay tuned, get connected, get connected in, and then stay connected to us, because we're going to start to have all sorts of things to share with you leading into our national convention in July. Monday, July 27th, all day. This Monday, March 21st, is the official today. Get connected. Click all the stuff. Just click all the stuff. Go see all the stuff. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in Vegas.